Just when I thought I wouldn't have a video to put out this week, what does Nintendo do? Reveal the Switch 2? I know a bunch of people have already given their thoughts and opinions on this, but I wanted to too. Why am I not allowed to? Anyways, so this morning, it was like, I don't know, 8 in the morning, something like that. I was in bed because I have no reason to get up early any of the next few days, and for this past week, I've had no reason to get up early, but I was awake, so I was scrolling on my phone. And I got a notification from Nintendo of America's YouTube channel that said something to the degree of a message from Nintendo. And I was confused. But then I thought, wait, because I pay attention to all these leaks, hasn't everybody been saying that Nintendo's announcing the Nintendo Switch 2 today? And then it clicked. I scrambled to my phone, clicked the notification, and guess what was there? The Switch 2. And I have thoughts. So let's talk about it a little bit. So obviously I'm very excited for the Switch 2. I think it looks really cool, but I want to go over just this whole trailer and talk about what I think of all of these features that they kind of show off and kind of reveal. It's only 2 minutes long, so it's not a very long trailer, but I think they show off a lot, and I think it's really just a really cool thing to talk about. We start off and it's just a Nintendo Switch, and then it goes into what looks like I don't know why it does that pixely thing. Maybe it's a different finish than the original Switch, but it looks like they're comparing it obviously to the original Nintendo Switch, but it kind of looks like it's just the same texture as the Switch OLED, which would be interesting because it would be no different. But I mean, if they improved on it in the OLED, why change it? Then they show off the USB-C port on the bottom and then on the top, which I think is really cool. And I think it's really cool that they're doing 2 USB-C ports on this device, because it's probably going to become an industry standard that most devices have 2 USB-C ports, most portable handhelds after a bit, because most of these handhelds have been taken from Nintendo, and then the Steam Deck, which will probably adopt this in their next iteration. I don't think I'd get too much use out of it, but it is kind of nice because I haven't done this very recently, but playing the Switch in bed with a cable, very uncomfortable because you have to hold the thing up and there's a wire coming out of the bottom. Having it come out of the top would be very useful. And also, if you're playing it in handheld mode and you have it charging, you can't use any sort of accessories, and it would be nice to be able to plug in a USB-C to USB-C cable or something of the sort and attach an accessory. Like a Pro controller, if it's dying, you can attach it via the USB-C cable and it will stay connected to the device also while the device is charging, therefore charging the Pro controller. Stuff like that. I'm sure the use cases will become more prevalent as we get it and figure it out. Then they show off the stand on the back, which I really didn't care about at first, but I noticed a lot of people talking about it because it looks much better than the original Switch's kickstand, which was just that little flimsy thing. This one, though, it doesn't look as nice as the Switch OLED's kickstand. And what I mean by that is the entire half of the back here unfolds and is this nice kickstand that I feel like is really good and can go pretty far. I don't know if there was something preventing them from doing that on this one, on the Switch 2, but I feel like it just looks a little more flimsy. It obviously won't be as flimsy as the original Switch's kickstand because that thing was crazy, but this one just looks like kind of a downgrade, which is really interesting because I feel like they would just take what works with the Switch OLED's kickstand and kind of innovate on it. And maybe they did. Maybe this is going to be great. Maybe this is going to be great. Maybe this is going to be better. I hope they prove me wrong, but it's just interesting that it looks like they went with a downgrade. Then they move on to the Joy-Cons, which I gotta be honest, look kind of crazy. I don't know if it's just the render or something, but they go from the Joy-Cons from the original Switch, which are just normal looking Joy-Cons, and maybe it's because I haven't seen much of them, but they go from the original Joy-Cons, and I don't know if it's just because before they size them up, they keep them at the same size and they look so rounded, but something kind of looks off about them. I'm not sure what it is. What I'm trying to say is that the Joy-Cons on the Switch 2 look so weird, and this is just because of the render, I think, and especially because when they show them here, they have no rails or anything. It's just like a flat Joy-Con in the side. It looks so weird. Even when they're sized up, it just looks so crazy. It'll probably look different on the actual Switch, and it'll probably be fine. I know it will be, but here it just looks crazy. And they're bigger, which is good. because it's going to be a bigger device, and having more space to put your hands is nicer, especially if they're thicker, so it'll be more comfortable to hold. I understand why they went with the original Joy-Cons looks. I know a lot of people wanted them to do like a new and improved Joy-Con, but that's what you have third parties for. If they work, if they're good, please make good third-party Joy-Cons for the Switch 2. Then they do this little transition thing with the colors and the accents. I'm not sure. Sorry, I have to sneeze. I don't know, they kind of look weird. Like, I get the red and blue is what they're going for because those were the original colors of the Switch, the neon colors, but they kind of look weird with the black. I'm sure it's just because of the render and I'll be used to it when we get it, but it's like, it looks so off, I feel like, in comparison to the Joy-Cons that are fully colored. And I'm sure they're gonna have like fully colored Joy-Cons, not all of them are just gonna be black. Maybe down the line, I don't know what their reveal is gonna be, but these look weird in my opinion. For the Joy-Con, I'm not sure how I'm gonna like these. I'm sure they'll be fine, but I think it's just because it's just like, it's like the Switch 1's Joy-Cons, but just a little different. That might be like throwing me off, like this, but with like magnetic rails on the sides, with a lot more buttons on the sides, taller, more wide it seems, and more round. I'll just have to get it and figure out like what it feels like, because for right now it's confusing me. And then they did the little spinny thing with the joysticks. If that doesn't mean like Hall effect, or they figured out how to fix the drift issues, I'm suing them. That's a joke. Please don't cover me, Nintendo. And then they do this weird thing, which I don't know if you've been keeping up with leaks, but leaks have been saying that these mouse, like the Joy-Con, can be used like mice. And okay, if you say so. But then they do this thing where they have them fall into grips. And if you look here, there's a little button on the front of the grips. That's probably to remove them. But it looks, and they're sliding around, and that seems to insinuate that they're going to be able to be used as mice, which would be amazing in like tabletop mode, or like when you're playing a game on the TV and you have like a flat surface in front of you. Do you know how convenient it would be to use that for like Mario Maker, if they bring back Mario Paint, or if they have that on the Switch Online service? Any like first person shooters like Splatoon, that would be awesome. I don't know how that would work. I mean, we'd have to try it out, but I think that would be so cool. And I hope that's what this is, because I think that would be awesome. And then they show them attaching to the device. I saw a lot of people online saying that these magnetic connectors might break after a little while. I know it doesn't show here. I hope though, I hope those aren't just fully exposed all the time. I hope there are at least like covers you can put on the sides. Maybe like I want a cover, like something to put on the sides of the device, because that will break. I know like Nintendo's been good with hardware in the past, and the Joy-Con rails have really held up pretty well for me, but I'm kind of nervous about this. I really hope this is good. This is okay, because the Switch, very iffy when it comes to hardware, but it just looks more flimsy. I hope it isn't, but that's just the impression I'm getting. And then they attach magnetically, which is what everyone said, and I don't know if anybody else saw this, but it was annoying the heck out of me as I was watching this. You can see the like red and blue on the side of the devices, on the side of the device, like in between the device and the Joy-Con, you can see the color. And that was annoying me the whole time. I hope that's not the same way on the actual device, but it was annoying me because it's like everything's black, everything's nice. This is colored, and I don't like that. I'm sure it'll be fine with the actual release. This is annoying me though. And then there's a big 2. Logo's a little weird, and a lot of people were complaining about the name. I understand, because like Nintendo Switch 2 is not a very cool name. It's not a very interesting name, but Nintendo really does not want another Wii U situation, and I think this kind of prevents that, because it tells all the people who aren't familiar, who just want to get their kid or their grandkid or something like that, the next big system. And if they see Nintendo Switch 2, and then it came out this year, it's going to be better at telling them this is a new console rather than something like Super Nintendo Switch. Because Super Nintendo Switch just sounds like a more powerful, it sounds like a PS5 Pro kind of thing, which would be cool. Naming's always fun, but this is the clearest thing you can have that tells someone that this is the successor. This is a new console. Then it just goes into a kind of like nice little cool cinematic thing. And you can see on the back of the Joy-Con, like this is the clearest you've seen them, like at the end, kind of. The big buttons that everyone was talking about on the back, those are definitely just going to be a unlock, so you can take them off. And it would probably be more convenient than the buttons on the Joy-Cons because they're just small buttons and they're kind of annoying to hit. These would be much better, especially since you're not sliding them off, you're pulling them off. You press it in and take it off. That'll probably work really well. And something I didn't touch on, which I meant to, is that on the Joy-Con, the button that everyone's been talking about that we didn't hear anything about in this video is the C button, which is now just a clear button. A lot of people were like, oh, it's not a C button anymore. That means everybody was wrong. No, they're obviously just covering it up, because if you're not going to say what it is, why show it off that much? It's a thing on the Joy-Con, so they have to have it on the model, but they just covered it up because they're not elaborating on it in this video. It would just leave more questions than answers. And I saw a lot of theories about what this is going to be. I think the common consensus is that it's going to be a chat button. I don't know where that idea came from, but I mean, if they have like integrated voice chat or something, that might be nice. And like, there was another rumor that there's going to be a microphone in the controllers. So if you just have a microphone and a chat button, you press the chat button, your microphone turns on. I think that would work really well. I saw another rumor that it might be like a cursor button, which I think would be really cool. But I think the infrared sensor that's in the side of the Joy-Con that looks like it's going to be in the side of the Joy-Con. We don't have confirmation, but that's what it seems like. Is probably just going to have something in it that when you set it down like that in the grip, it's just going to like no. So I don't think that's very feasible. And I'm not sure what else it'll be. We obviously don't know. I'll get to this in a second, but there's a direct on the 2nd of April. So we're a good few months away, but that's where they'll reveal all of this stuff. Then we slide into a Nintendo Switch 2 dock. There's a big 2 next to that Switch logo. I'm not sure how I feel about this logo. I understand why. Like, I just laid out why, but I still don't really understand. I don't know. I'll get used to it as it goes on. Nintendo Switch 2 is just a crazy name for a console, but I guess it just makes sense considering it's been Nintendo since Xbox. Well, not Xbox, but PlayStation has just been naming their consoles like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It just is a little weird here because this isn't the Nintendo 2. This is the Nintendo Switch 2, but it'll be fine. Then it goes into the dock, which I just said, and this is just the Nintendo Switch dock with curves on the side and isn't like all the way up to the top, which is cool. There was another leak that said that they might have some technology that like when you put the Switch in with the Switch 2 in the dock, there'll be something displayed on the screen. We don't see any of that here, but I mean, that doesn't take away from the theory because that ridge there leaves space on the screen. So maybe we'll see. Then we go onto the TV and they show off a new Mario Kart game. I saw somebody say this is Mario Kart 8. This is not Mario Kart 8. Are you dumb? That is a whole new Mario model. That is a whole new Bowser model. That is not Donkey Kong. What is that? Who is that? Is that Donkey Kong? But this is most definitely a new Mario Kart game because that track has never been in a Mario Kart game before. There has never been that many characters in a Mario Kart game before. Okay, this is off topic. Give me Kirby in Mario Kart, please. I know mods can do it for me. I don't want to download a mod onto my Nintendo Switch. I want to play as Kirby in Mario Kart. Why is that so hard to ask for? And they show off the Joy-Con grip, which looks insane. I'm sorry. It looks crazy. Because, like, I understand what they're going for. They're obviously going for the same thing as the Switch 1's grip. But does this not look crazy? All of my, like, things that look crazy will be normal to us in, like, 6 months from now. Like, 6 months from now, meaning, like, when this thing releases, it'll be normal to us. This is just the first impressions, like, shock of it all. Now it says 2025. It's coming out this year. Like I said before, there is a direct on April 2nd, which is a long ways away. But everyone was like, why announce it so early? First of all, leaks. They probably had to say something anyway. Jason Schreier, I forget where he's from. He said that the reason they would do this so soon and so far ahead is so publishers could start saying that their games are going to be on the Switch 2. And I think that's really interesting. I think that's really smart. I think that's really cool. Something I hadn't thought of. Something most people hadn't thought of. What a smart guy. Then we get a little screen telling us that Switch 2 is going to be backwards compatible with Nintendo Switch games, which we knew because there was a tweet from Furukawa on the Nintendo account. He said, this is Furukawa. The Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be backwards compatible with Nintendo Switch games. So it says it here, it clarifies here, because most people didn't see that tweet, but it's right here. And it shows both devices playing Mario Wonder, which is great. Because I love backwards compatibility. Obviously, the Nintendo Switch was not going to have backwards compatibility with the Wii U, but seeing that this thing is backwards compatibility with the Switch 2, with the original Switch, is amazing. I remember that being like a whole big argument, people saying, why would they do it? Why? why not? Like, obviously they could just sell it to all of us as new devices, as new games, like they did with Wii U games. But like, come on. This is just the better choice, obviously. And I actually saw a lot of people concerned about this line on here, which, chill out. It says certain Nintendo Switch games may not be supported or fully compatible with the Nintendo Switch 2. Details will be shared on the Nintendo website at a later date. People were like, I hope this doesn't mean all first-party games. What are you talking about? This is obviously referring to Labo and like other IR things, like 1-2 Switch and stuff like that. Because I didn't mention this when the Joy-Cons were flying by, but there is no IR sensor on these Joy-Cons. Probably because not many games used it, not many games need it. Right here, who uses this? It's not focusing. There we go. Who used that? No one. Exactly. And then they're doing a series of hand-on events around the world, which is very interesting because the reveal thing is in April. And the latest date for a hands-on event is June 1st, which means that this thing probably won't release until June, which is very interesting because that's a long ways away. That is 6 months from now, which is fine. Like, hype. You build hype. At their next Nintendo Direct, they could say games for the Nintendo Switch 2 will be announced here. Well, not announced, but games that are like cross-platform or something. If they do a Nintendo Direct between now and April, which they might, who knows. But like, if they announce a game, if they do something like Xenoblade Chronicles X, they can be like, this will work on the Nintendo Switch 2 as well, because that hasn't come out yet. Well, I mean, it's a Wii U port, but it hasn't come out on the Switch yet. So they can be like, this is coming out on the Switch 2. This works on the Switch 2. So like, if someone buys it, they can also buy it for the Switch 2. It's stuff like that. Before we talk about like emulation, this thing has gotten a crazy amount of engagement. So they dropped this on a Thursday morning. They dropped this on a Thursday morning at like 8 in the morning. It was immediately one of their most, like, it immediately had like 1 million views. Right now, it has 865,000 likes, which, I don't know if you guys know how YouTube works. That is an incredible ratio. That is an incredible ratio, like to view ratio, especially because there is 12 million views on the video in 11 hours. It has been #1 on trending for the entire time, which I think is insane. And then you go to the comments. There is a comment with 99,000 likes that says, that control stick spinning with style better be a flex or no upcoming drift issues. If this Switch 2 has drift, oh my god, no one's ever gonna trust Nintendo with joysticks ever again. I really like this. I'm obviously really excited for it. I'm gonna buy myself one. I want to play it. I want to play the games. I'm gonna have a huge game library from the start with all my old Nintendo Switch games that I'll test stuff out on, and then I'll have a huge library of Switch 2 games as they come out, which will be awesome. I wonder how they're gonna do the cartridges, because remember, like, the 3DS was backwards compatible with the DS, but the 3DS games had a little ridge. I wonder if they're gonna do the same thing. That would be really funny. I don't think they will, but it would be really funny. Best Buy had a page up earlier today of put in your email and we'll send you an email when you can pre-order one. Trust, I put my email in. I will be pre-ordering this. We don't know anything about it. All we know is what it looks like and the fact that it's backwards compatible and that there's a new Mario Kart game coming out for it, which, thank the Lord, we've had Mario Kart 8 for like 11 years now. Touch a little bit on emulation. I'm not sure how emulation for this is going to go because the only 2 Nintendo Switch emulators for the original Nintendo Switch have been shut down by Nintendo. So I'm not sure if we're going to see any come up after this launches. I doubt it because I don't think much is going to change in the way of Switch emulation. And maybe we'll see a Switch 2 emulator show up, which it just seems like it's going to have the same, like it's going to run the same as the Switch. So we might get like maybe it would be a Switch 2 and Switch emulator in one, like how Dolphin's a Wii and GameCube one, since it's basically the same system. But I don't know. It'll be very interesting to see how emulation plays out with this thing. I can kind of agree with Nintendo to a bit, like a little bit, like that emulation for their newest consoles can hurt their sales. But why are you taking down emulators that are like for consoles that are like 10 years old, 20 years old? What's your prerogative there? But that's a whole different conversation. I don't think this is going to change much in the way of Switch emulation. Yuzu and Ryujinx are going to stay dead, and I don't think we'll see a Nintendo Switch 2 emulator pop up anytime soon. Just because I don't think anybody wants to get in trouble with Nintendo. Like, someone's probably going to develop one. I mean, you can't really stop people from doing that. It's on your own. if you do it on your own time, you can't really be stopped. But distributing it is probably where it's going to be a problem. Maybe you could do it for like a good minute and then like I'll get it and then Nintendo shuts it down. But obviously I don't know anything. I'm just kind of speculating based off of what I have assumed and what I can see right here and what I've seen in the past. But we really just have to wait and see until this comes out. And we also don't know how powerful this is. There have been a lot of leaks and rumors that this thing is going to be like a PS4 level device in terms of power. I don't think we're going to see games like run like as well as they do on a PS4 Pro. I'm trying to keep my expectations in check because we could see like really high quality games. Like we could see games like Red Dead Redemption 2 and a lot of these ports that have come to the Switch that performed really badly. We could probably see them running on here much better. They could probably have patches put out by their developers if they even care that much, but they could probably put out patches that make them run better, and that would be really cool. Power here isn't that important. I know a lot of people like really care about how powerful a thing is, but you have to remember that Nintendo does not care about power. Obviously, the Switch now is running on like 10-year-old like architecture. Like the Switch's internals are very old, they're very outdated, and I'm glad they're being updated, but Nintendo doesn't really need high powered internals. Like the Switch runs Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Mario Wonder. All these games are beautiful, especially on the OLED, on like 10-year-old internals. Nintendo is very good at getting the most out of their low-powered devices and stylizing their games to kind of hide the fact that they're low, like they're not the highest quality. So this thing being high quality would be great, but they don't really need that. Like being very powerful, I mean, would be great, but yeah, Nintendo doesn't need that. I think the reason I've liked Nintendo's games over the past few years and like really haven't deviated away from them, and even when I play on like PC and stuff, I mostly play games that kind of remind me of like cozy Nintendo games. Like Stardew Valley, I've dumped hundreds of hours into. Neon White is not like a Nintendo like game, but the reason I bring it up is because like those games kind of remind me of Nintendo in a way because they are so like different. Like I feel like all we see from these like big developers like from Sony and Xbox is like these games that are super realistic. They're trying to have high graphics and whatever. These games don't care. Stardew Valley is like 800 megabytes or something. It's not even a full gigabyte. Neon White is a few gigabytes and it's not super like realistic. These games are so creative and like stylized in a way where it doesn't matter like the graphics. Obviously you need like some graphics to like you need some power to run them, but the graphics isn't everything. They don't need to look amazing. They do look amazing, but they don't need to. And I think Nintendo's very much in the same boat, and that's why I've loved them so much over the past few years, and ever since I was a child. I'm trying to think if I have anything else to say that could be of use. I hope it's affordable. I know it's going to be more expensive. I would be fine with $400 because $400 is $100 more than the $300, and that kind of makes sense for like a more powerful device, stuff like that, and for more features, whatever. But I hope it's not more than that. That would be kind of annoying. For what we haven't seen yet, we obviously don't know the internals, but I just did a whole rant about that. I hope that the home screen is redesigned. I hope that the eShop is redesigned because those things where the Switch did right, those were not in it. It just needs to be more like Nintendo-y. Like the Wii U had a really nice home screen and the Switch is so basic. Like, I understand Switch 2 probably just going to use the same thing, but please don't. Please do something fun. Maybe, no. I was going to say maybe between now and April they'll show us something, but I doubt it. I doubt we'll see anything, like, more about the system. Anything major. Maybe they'll reveal, like, some small thing. Like how they put out tweets and they're like, the successor to the Nintendo Switch is going to be backwards compatible. Maybe it'll be something like that, but I don't know. I don't see it happening. I wonder, though, how backwards compatibility is going to kind of affect what games come out on this thing. We're definitely going to get another Zelda game, but like Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild being on this thing, what exactly are you going to do? Like you're going to have to do a completely different thing, which would be really cool. I hope they do, but it's like, what are they going to do? We're not getting another Splatoon. I doubt it. Maybe at the end of the life cycle, we'll get Splatoon 4. But like I said, the backwards compatibility, I don't think it should change much because it's like the GameCube to the Wii or the Wii to the Wii U. Because like you could play Twilight Princess, the GameCube version, or Wind Waker on the Wii, but that didn't stop them from making a Wii version, a Wii Zelda game. And then for the Wii U, Zelda's not a good example there. But Mario, they had Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 on the Wii. You could play those on the Wii U, and they also had Super Mario 3D World. So I don't think this will be a hindrance. It obviously hasn't been one in the past, but I mean, times have changed. We'll just have to see. I don't think I have anything more to add, because I think I just like ranted a bunch. We obviously have to wait we have to wait 3 months until we hear anything more, and there's a lot we still don't know. So we'll have to wait until then. But until then, I'm really excited for this thing. I think it looks really cool. I think it'll be a great device to use, a great device to play on, and I will make a video on it when I get it. So expect that in like 6 months. Maybe I'll make an updated video in 3 months with if they say anything interesting at the direct. Probably not, because that's not what this channel is focused on, but maybe. But so yeah, that's pretty much it from me. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of this, what you think of the reveal. If you were just as surprised as I were, if you saw the notification I did, if you're going to get one day one, or if you're waiting to see the price, if there's anything that they need to do to win you over, or if you've already made up your mind, or if you have any thoughts regarding the emulation side of things. If there's anything here that you just want to comment on, let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you next week. Goodbye.